Well, we're out here in the shop again, Glazes. Guess what we get to start doing today? We are going to start tearing this 63 split window coupe apart. I'm very excited about that. As you all know, that's typically the fun part, at least I think it is. But one of the things that's more difficult is you tear these things down, and what, a year later, 2 years later, you start putting it back together. So I've been there with my 56 Chevy. That was actually a span of about 15 years. So I had to teach myself how to put it back together. But what I'm going to do with the split window is I'm trying to document it quite a bit, of course, with the videos I'm taking, and also a lot of photographs of some of the details, especially like the window trim and what's underneath, how I took it apart, that type of thing, because I'm not that familiar with 63 split windows. But I have a feeling I'm going to be after this is all over. So stay tuned. What I like to do when I'm dismantling a car is I like to take these heavy duty freezer baggies, store all my fasteners in there. A lot of these are not the original fasteners anyway. I'm probably going to replace them, but at least lets me know what came off, what size they are. So I'll do that almost with every bolt I take off here. My buddy, Mid-Year Mitch, he indicated he has a patented method to take his hood off. But he has an overhead crane, so I improvised. I have a small lift that helps me lift things up on my mezzanine, and I rigged up a system to take this hood off by myself. So let's get this hood off. It's patented also, Mitch. Voila, it worked fine. Now let's get it down off here. Another thing that I figured out years ago was out of just a piece of 4-inch foam, and you cut a chunk off, you put a little slit in it, not all the way through, and it's a nice hood protector, corner protector. Even though this is going to be all repainted and body work done, no sense in chipping it up. So if you look right here, very simple piece of foam. Put a slit in the corner, down about 3 inches down and about 5 inches deep. And you just stick it on the corner like this. Do the other side. There you go. Works perfectly. Now that I can see down here in front of the core support, interesting, obviously they had trouble with the headlight buckets, motors. There's the passenger side is laying down next to the radiator. And now the driver's side is up in there. It is mounted, I believe. Yep, looks like it. So anyway, I did notice also the bottom of the core support is rusted. Gonna have to pick up another one of those. But anyway, let's start getting this engine apart. Well, I got the fasteners for the, what's left of the fasteners of the grill out. Definitely gonna need a new grill. Let's pull this thing out of here. this bumper, right rear bumper's coming off. These bumpers were not standard bolts. There's a lot of different size bolts. Made it a little more frustrating, but the bolts are coming off. That's a good thing. Didn't have to cut any off. So here we go. There you go. Bumpers are off. I'm gonna start working on this rear pan. Gonna have to take the muffler tips off to get the pan off. This license plate trim. One more bolt holding this rear pan on. It definitely is a replacement pan. It doesn't fit right, but I can see. Now I'm on it. There we go. Whew. Yeah, there you go. I think this is a replacement rear pan. But we'll see. While that radiator is draining, I'm going to remove this expansion tank and some of this other stuff, this small electric fuel pump I put on to start the motor up, start cleaning this engine compartment up so we can pull this body off. Almost got it. There we go. All right, there you go. Okay, that was a bear. But it gives me a lot more room here to work on the headlight buckets. I was cleaning and vacuuming this front area out, getting all the leaves, and I noticed something. The last person that restored this car, I want to show you something. So this radiator core support, as you can see, is shot. But what somebody did was they threw, you know, some cardboard, tube, Bondo. Look at this. To plug that hole right there. So that's the kind of work you get sometimes on these cars, but we're going to take care of all that. I don't know if any of you guys out there have experienced this. As I said before, this is my first C2 Corvette, but this passenger side headlight bucket was locked up tighter than a drum. The motor was off when I got it. Now I know why. This thing was froze shut, and it was frozen on the outside hinging point axle. Now I did manage to get it freed up, did get it open, but man, I had to, as you can see here, I chipped a little bit of paint. That crack there was already in the body, but I chipped paint, but ended up not having to bend anything, just chipped paint. But boy, I had to beat and WD and beat again and pry and do some things. But anyway, I got it open, so that's what I've been working on for the last hour. like I got the wiring harness on hook. Let's see if we can disconnect it here from the dash. There's the headlights, and then there's the engine one. Let's see if we got this on here. Ready to go. There you go. See if we can get this headlight one out of here. Yep. Here's the headlight one. So we get all the wiring harnesses from the firewall forward out. Looks like I gotta do a couple more things. Remove the steering column, disconnect it, get it out of the way, and disconnect the master cylinder, and that's about it. One of the things I mentioned when I recovered the car out of the garage is that this steering is locked up. But when I come out here, and I move the steering wheel, if you can see down there real close, the steering arm linkage does move. So my guess is it's somewhere in the steering arm, or I have a sneaking hunch, it is actually the stabilizer, steering stabilizer, which is right there. It looks like a shock absorber. I believe that stabilizer is frozen solid. So I'm going to remove that and see if that frees up the steering. The stabilizer is loose on one end. Let's go see if this steering wheel will turn now. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We got steering. That means it's going to make it a little easier to move this frame around once I get it off. I don't have to put it up on dollies. Well, that's good news. I suspected it was the stabilizer shock, and it was. Well, what I've been trying to do here is remove the rag joint. I can tell you these bolts are all rusted. And then when you try to turn the bolt, you know, your steering column's twisting too, so it makes it more difficult. I am not going to reuse this rag joint. So I'm going to use the trusty old Sawzall. Funny story behind this Sawzall. I'm guessing 30 years ago, my mother and father were building a new home, and the preacher at their church, his name was Bill Mullet, and Bill was also a great carpenter. I was helping them out, and one day Bill come in with a brand new Sawzall, and I said, Bill, what are you doing with your old one? He said, you want it? I'll sell it to you for 25 bucks. I've been using this Sawzall for over 30 years, probably closer to 32 years. It was the best $25 I ever spent, Bill. Thanks. If you're watching this, thank you. Well, I think I finally got this steering column loose. There's a lot of things connected to it. I'm going to try to get it out of here. Let's see what happens. I don't know if the seat will get in the way or not. Nope, came right out. All right. Another milestone. Got the steering column. Well, I have the instrument cluster out. A lot of you guys are probably cringing because of the way I cut some of the stuff out, but I'm not reusing any of this wiring harness. I'm not reusing any of the sensor cables, anything. This is going to be a resto mod. Plus, if I was going to put it back to stock, I wouldn't use these old pieces. I would buy new. So that's where we're at. Good morning, folks. Back out here. I finished up last night trying to get the seats out. One thing about this car is definitely anything metal is rusted. I hope the bird cage is in good shape. Ended up using my buddy right here, the old Sawzall, and was able to cut these bolts pretty quickly. So we're getting these seats out of here. And then we'll move on to the body mount bolts. I'm sure they're all rusted also. Park this a little differently with the lift. It made life a little easier for me, but I'll get it. One down, one to go. Woo! This thing is nasty. It looks like the Mises had a good bed a few winters. This is all going to come out. I don't think they ate the fiberglass, so I think we're okay. So let's go work on this passenger seat. The seats are out. I'm going to go ahead and tear this console apart and get all this carpet out of here. By the way, I found this kind of unique situation here. I think because the frame rusted and the whole chassis sunk down on the body, to remedy the U-joint hitting, looks like they cut out the floor on the tunnel. Or to change the U-joint, they did this. I've heard that some guys used to do this to change the U-joint. So, I don't know, but that's going to be patched for sure. So anyway, let's get to work on this console and dash. Get this carpet out of here. Got to show you guys this. This is very interesting. I'm not sure how they use this radio, but there's a radio stuck back in there. There's one in the console, but there's one snuck back up in here. Unbelievable. Look at that. Very interesting. Now, I was told that these are not 63 split window coupe seats, that they're 64, maybe 65. Not in bad shape. The frame rails are there. They do move up and down, or back and forward, I should say. But you guys tell me, like I told you before, I'm kind of new at the C2 stuff, so if you guys want to give me a comment, and some of you guys tell me what these are, and also if any of you guys are interested in these seats, let me know. Give me a comment. Make me an offer. One more rocker panel. Take off here. Now I start working on the body mounts. They only had these on with 3 screws. All right, let's get to these body mounts. Where I'm at right now, folks, is when I get my lift, my posts are pretty close together because it's an older lift. And when I put the arms out, it's not really hitting the rocker of the Corvette where I want it. So I have to bring the lift up to about this height and put straps down. I didn't know what I was going to strap to. I didn't like the idea of just taking a hook and hooking it here. I wanted more support. So what I did was I made this bracket. Now what happens is that bracket goes up there underneath the rocker support, not just the fiberglass, but the rocker support. And then this bracket here with the hole brings it outward so that the hook on the strap is not hitting the door. Probably gonna put some protectors in there just in case it does, but anyway, this is how it fits. It goes right here where the support, you gotta bypass the one bracket that's broken off where the hook the rockers, and it goes just like that. Here's my setup. There's my bracket there that's hooked, welded good. I actually put my pads for my lift in there, so just in case I want to bump the door, I don't want to, got it wrapped around good. Eyelet there. These are heavy duty lifting straps, came out of a steel distributor, and they lift bundles of steel with these, so these are plenty strong enough. Same thing in the front. You look at the bracket. I just put a rubber pad there to protect it just in case the hooking system goes up and hits the car. Same thing on all corners. So yeah, it looks good. So I'm gonna give it a shot. What we're looking at right here is the body mount bolt right in front of the rear tire. This is the driver's side, sorry. And everything's rusted. The bolts flaked out so much, it's an odd size. I couldn't even get a metric wrench to fit it, but learned a lesson from Mid-Year Mitch on a project he had. We're gonna have to cut these out with a grinder and whatever we have just to get the head off that bolt. So I gotta do the driver's and passenger's side. So let's go at this. These are the last two bolts I need to get before this body comes off. This is what I use to grind the bolts off of the body to frame mount right in front of the rear tire, both sides. It's a pretty aggressive, it's for roughing out cylinder head ports, cast iron and aluminum. Yep, just an old Dumore grinder I picked up at a yard sale for about 10 bucks, believe it or not. But I had both of them off in about 5 minutes, very quick. So thanks Mid-Year Mitch for the heads up on how to get these bolts out. Let's see if this thing's gonna come off here now. Forgot a few things. I never removed one of these, but it looks like we're clear. Let's see. I told you that thing was rusted and broken. Well, it looks like I'm clear enough to roll this chassis out of here. Yeah, looks good. I think I'm going to give me some support underneath the body first. I like my straps I built, and they're holding nicely. So, anyway, I'm going to show you around this frame once we get it out, show you how rusty it was. Well, I'll tell you, these pull hooks or brackets I built, they worked extremely well. come over here. I put this little pad here for my lift to protect the door, but it's hooking to the rocker support and the fiberglass, but it did not hurt the fiberglass at all. It's hitting it right at the strength point, so I'm pretty happy with that. But as you can see here, this frame is terrible. So really bad shape. Doesn't matter, I'm gonna do a resto mod. It looks like the back of this frame was rear-ended at one time. I don't know if someone put another frame, because this frame, I looked up under this body, it has not been repaired. So all I can think is maybe, I did notice is this lower skirt that goes here was replaced. I just wonder if somebody rear-ended it and got under that. Thank you for watching Glazes Geezer Garage. We have the body off the frame. Frame's in pretty bad shape. Looks like the rocker, the metal rocker reinforcements are gonna need replaced. They're not bad, but this thing's gonna be a primo resto mod. I wanna make sure everything's right. I appreciate you guys watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if I could stress, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out, get more views. I hope you guys are enjoying what I'm showing you. If you have any suggestions, please comment, and we really appreciate it. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.